used to watch a lot of these Mario challenge videos in 2017, 2018. Beating Mario without touching coins, beating Mario backwards, collecting all coins, blah blah blah. I wanted to try one. I figured Smb1 would be my best bet just because of how much I play that game, and I picked only facing backwards as my challenge. On to the video. 1-1 is quite easy, but something I immediately noticed was I can't enter pipes. At least pipes oriented like this. But it's a simple fix, I just had to take the long way. But other than that, it was completely smooth sailing, and on to 1-2. In 1-2, something I noticed that was very helpful, holding a down right input on the D-pad will basically completely prevent me from accidentally looking right. On to 4-1. 4-1 was really easy and has nothing to be said about it, but I did lose my mushroom. And 4-3 is once again another really easy level. Up the vine and on to 8-1. 8-1 once again has no issues up until we reach our first actual obstacle. An impassable pit. I figured I might be able to just jump across it with a very precise jump, but that didn't seem to be working at all. I realized there's some Goombas on the other side. By carefully scrolling the screen not to fall off the map, I can load the Goombas and bounce off of one's head to land on the other side of the pit. From then on, I reached what I thought was another impassable pit, but this one I could actually just jump completely across. Something I didn't notice while I was playing is I was actively running out of time. I ended up reaching the goal with 19 Nintendo seconds left. In 8-2, I once again encountered an unclearable jump. This time, there was no Goombas on the other side of it, so I figured I just couldn't jump across it. But I very quickly realized that there's bullet bills further to the left. By lowering a bullet bill over and slowing down just the right amount to where you can bounce off of it, you can land on the other side of the pit. From then, it was smooth sailing. Except for this fucking Goomba. How do I die? How do I die like that? How? Explain. 8-3 was a little more difficult. No technical issues, but I basically just had to hope that I got good Hammer Bros RNG. In 8-4, I figured the game might actually be beatable. Then I entered this pipe. It's a water section. The only mandatory water section in the entire 80% route. And you can't swim backwards, and there's no way to skip this section to my knowledge, so it's not beatable like that. But I went on anyways and tried to beat the game. I once again came across another unclearable jump, and this one I figured was completely impossible. There's no bullet bills, there's no Goombas, there's no enemies, but it is possible. If you've ever played Smb1, you may have slightly clipped into a wall when you jumped. That's Mario actually clipping in between two tiles. There is 2 frames, I believe, where you can actually jump when that happens. At 60 FPS, it's pretty difficult, but it's doable. So I basically just threw myself at the wall over and over until I got it. From then, I can just beat Bowser and beat the game. Turns out we can't beat the game completely backwards, just barely, but let's try the rest of the levels to see how many are actually beatable. Out of all the rest of the levels, these hidden ones are beatable with no issues. The remaining ones have some sort of issue or simply can't be beaten. 2-2 and 7-2 can't be beaten because they're water levels, and that leaves us with 3 remaining levels. 4-3 has once again another unclearable gap. At first, I tried to jump and land on the Koopa to bounce off of it. I got very close to the Koopa, but never was able to get close enough to bounce off of it. It may be possible, but I don't think it is. And then another thing I tried was there's some Koopas on the platform. I tried to use one of their shells to bounce off of it. It also did not work. So 4-3 is not beatable. 4-4 was beatable, but it's just weird. I guess it has something to do with the way that I'm moving through the loading triggers, but I would take the same path twice and end up with different results. I did manage to beat the level though, but I'm not sure if it's beatable in one segment. I used save states. It took me about 10 minutes with save states to beat the level. I basically had to do it over and over again until it would just decide to work. 7-4 has the same loading trigger issue, except this time, even with save states, it seems completely unbeatable. I spent about 20 minutes doing the level over and over again, and not a single time it worked. And when I did that, I had a save state halfway through the level. So the first section was already done. The second section, I just don't think it's possible because I spent so long doing it. Regardless, without save states at all, I don't think it's possible. Just because of how many paths there are and how seemingly random it is, whether it decides to work or not. So I have no clue. I tried to look up and figure out how loading planes work in those levels and what the trigger is and where it is, how it works, but I couldn't really find anything. So